Hi, ladies. So happy you're here again with me on the 29-Minute Mom. I know it's busy. You're probably running around or multitasking right now. And so I'm so thankful that you're joining me on the show today. So, as a lot of you realize, I have been launching a brand new weekly coaching program about 6 months ago, and it's open for enrollment right now. And it's called the Created Order Neighborhood. And in it today, we talked a lot about vision. And it's basically vision to me is kind of going back to when we were little girls and we used to daydream. We used to be able to get up and go somewhere. For me, it was trees. I loved climbing trees, and I would climb up on a tree and I would sit on the branch and I would just daydream and imagine what my life was going to be like. And it was so just exciting to picture my life in my head. I obviously had a very handsome husband. I had two kids. One was a boy, one was a girl. I lived in a nice house. On and on and on it went. And I had, you know, painted this picture inside of my brain, and it stuck with me. And I think that a lot of that vision became my reality, not everything, because I was actually going to be a dolphin trainer at Marine World. That didn't really work out, but sometimes our vision changes and our steps take a different direction, which is totally fine. But my point is, when I was little, I would really enjoy daydreaming and imagining what my future could be. And I think as women, we get away from that. And we were talking, I said we were talking about this in the coaching program, but actually we were talking about this on my masterclass that I did today. That's where it was coming from. We did a masterclass, which if you listen to this episode within the week of October 19th, you can still hear the masterclass. If not, go on the wait list and you'll get access to it sooner or later. But with all that being said, I've been thinking a lot about vision and why it's so important for us as women to still be able to daydream, come up with this vision, and then write it down. And the reason is because the more we can imagine something, the more real it becomes, the more we can feel it, we can touch it, we can see it in our mind. And if we can see it in our mind, it's already there for us. So today I want to give you some tips and some inspiration on how you can organize your own life vision. Basically, you need to remember vision is essential. If you can't visualize your endpoint, you'll have no idea how to go where you want to go. And if you do get somewhere, you'll have no idea how you got there in the first place. So vision is very important to just give you a roadmap to your end goal. And it is something that helps you make the decisions about how you're going to spend your time. So if you decide, that you're going to do something new with your life, you're going to make a change, this is going to be your year, you will have to make decisions on what should stay in your life and what should go, how you should spend your time, all those things. And maybe, you feel like you're stuck where you are right now. And even though you come up with a new vision for your life, it's just not possible. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to go into a daydreaming session or some time sitting around imagining. I don't want you to put any limitations on yourself. I want to give yourself permission to actually pull out a journal and write down things that you only dream about, things that maybe nobody else even knows about, and write them down. So the first thing I want you to do this week is to pick a journal that will be something that you want to journal in and something that you want to write and use, and make sure that it looks cute and make sure that it's inspiring. And just take some time, grab a cup of tea, grab a cup of coffee, sit somewhere quiet, maybe when your house is empty, and just sit there for a few minutes and think about your childhood dreams. Write them down. What did you want to be when you grew up? Who did you want to look like? What kind of house did you want to have? What did you want your kids to be like? What kind of vacations were you going on? What were you doing with your daily hours that you were given? How were you spending your holidays and your weekends. This is all important. And I want you to just jot it down like a big fat brain dump. Write it all down, get it there, have fun with it, use some cool pens or some different colors, doodle if you need to do. Just let yourself be free without thinking about ways to talk yourself out of a vision. When we were kids, we didn't sit there and say, oh, well, that is something that I shouldn't do because it takes too much time away from my family, or that's going to be something that I can't afford, or I don't have the skills for it. We just assumed when we were kids, this is going to happen, right? We were going to have this all figured out. And that's why it was fun. So let's go back to that time period, jot it all down, and then expand on it, because we've changed as women. We've evolved. We don't care about the same things we always cared about. Some things are the same, some things have changed. I no longer care if I work with dolphins. I like swimming with dolphins, but I don't need to work at Marineland or SeaWorld. That doesn't need to happen anymore because I have a different career. But I do still have dreams that I have not yet accomplished. And so those need to be intertwined in this vision. And I want you to go through, after you've taken some time to do a brain jump, and I want you to make some lists. First, I want you to make a list of everything you want in your life in the next year. Don't put limits on it. Don't question, just write. The second thing I want you to do is make a list of the things that you want in your life in the next 5 years. And then the same for 10 years. And then the fourth list is, what do you want to accomplish before you leave this earth? And this isn't to make your to-do list long and to make you feel like you have all these things now that you have to tackle. It's just to have fun. It's just to realize that you can do anything you set your mind to. You can be anybody you want to be, and that you can still dream, even though sometimes as moms, we feel like we're just going through the day, task by task, and we're not really, thinking outside the box. We're just thinking about what's inside the walls of our home, what the people inside of our home, the daily errands and carpool. But this is a way to kind of open up our minds to realize that literally anything is possible. If we can think it and dream it, we can do it. And then I want you to start with your 1-year list. Go down the list item by item and write down everything you need to do to make that happen. So you're basically taking that one goal and you're now splitting it up into smaller baby steps. And you don't have to get perfect. You can just write down steps that come to your mind and be realistic. Think about the time investment that you would need to approach these steps. And you need to actually tell yourself that it doesn't matter how many steps you get done right away. The fact that you came up with a plan on how to do it is going to give you a huge boost of energy, and it's going to be able to show you on paper how easy these goals really are. Like if somebody else in your life did this goal, then you can do this goal. So break it down. And then if you're serious about any of these, if you want to take action right now on any of these goals in your vision, you can actually take it a step further, pull out your calendar, schedule time across the year, even if it's 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, little buckets of time that you could make the needle move toward this goal. And what happens is, if we do that, our vision, this picture we've painted in our minds, actually starts to come to fruition. This is how all goals are achieved. This is how books are written, movies are produced. This is how coaching programs develop. This is how corporations start. Little tiny steps along the way. Everything is built with the same kind of process where you first imagine and dream, and then you start to look at how to break this dream or this vision down into goals, which is broken down into baby steps, which is broken down to 15 to 30-minute increments of time on your calendar. It's serious. We don't have to overthink this. And make a good plan at the beginning so you can stay on track and focus all of your energy into that goal happening. Once you get to the place where that goal has happened, you now trust yourself to reach other goals. You now start to feel that you are in the driver's seat of your life, and you can actually come up with another goal and break that down and make that happen. And then I want you to just jot down things that you do not like about your life at this moment. And I want you to ask yourself, what can you do to change these things. You have a lot of options. It could include saying no, asking for help, taking action to get yourself out of a situation, looking for other women in your life that may be willing to barter with you on skills, or maybe they're just have a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on, but they can get you the inspiration and the motivation that you need. Sometimes our inner voice gets stuck on automatic, and we need to push that stop button and restart the way that we think so that we can restart the way that we act and the way that we show up in our life. So after that, another good journaling exercise is to really write out a description of your ideal day, including what you do for work. So if there's something that you don't like about your job, for example, write down your ideal work day. What time do you start working? Who do you work with? What do you wear to work? What does your work commitment look like? How can you make these things happen? Could you talk to your employer, or do you need to change companies? This list will help you research the corporate culture at your company and kind of get you to realize what kind of job is a good fit for you. And you can start to use this list if you are going to look for a new job. When you go to an interview, you can bring this list with you and you can ask these questions to see if the new job that you're applying for would actually feel and look like this on a daily basis. So I want you to really just find 15 minutes, maybe an hour, somewhere in the middle this week to do these things, because I'm telling you, if you start to feel stuck in life and you feel like nothing's ever going to change and there's nothing that you can do to improve your life, then you will start to believe that. But just writing these things down, writing a vision on paper will start to show you that it is possible and it can be done. It's not going to happen overnight normally, but if you take one little step and put one foot in front of the other, sooner or later, you will get to where you want to go. And let me tell you, listen, mama, be okay with just practicing taking risk. Just practice. Push yourself to try new things. Make a list of all the things you've been afraid to do, but then you learned how to do them. Make a list of the things you've already accomplished in your life. Sometimes we need to remember that. Sometimes we need to get real and we need to remind ourselves that we have already accomplished so much in our life, but we forget. We forget that we are in control and we are powerful, inspirational women full of what we already need. Whatever you need, you already have it inside of you. You just have to remember that. And so I want you to take this advice. This is one of those little mini sessions this week, right? Once in a while I pop on here and I just do a mini session, and that's what this is today. But talk about, or not necessarily, you can talk about it with other people if you are willing, but first write it down and then just talk yourself through how, if I wanted to start a new business, what would that look like? What step could I take this week to start that new business? If I want to write a book, what can I do to write a new book or write a book? Maybe I just start journaling. Maybe I just start writing ideas down. Maybe I don't have to have it all figured out. Maybe it never even gets published, but I can say that I wrote a book. It just hasn't been published yet. Or I'm in the midst of forming a business. You can turn that negative voice into a positive voice by telling yourself that you are in the middle of changing your life. You are creating the life that you've always dreamed of. And there's women out there around the world that have done these things. There's proof of this working all over. You just have to open your eyes to it, and you have to get rid of this negative self-talk that tells you you're different and you can't do it. Don't let those limiting beliefs stop you. I want you to be inspired this week. Go forward, create a vision. If you're brave enough, and you really are brave, and you would love to share it with somebody, and you don't want to do it with anybody else in your life, I would love to hear your vision. So email it to me. I'm always open and willing to hear it. And I want to tell you, you've got this. You can do it. I believe in you. Until next time.